Let's now move into our fifth and final main topic today. And our fifth and final main topic today gets submitted to us by Hamoud H. And Hamoud H writes, "Greetings and salutations, movie friends." Well, greetings and salutations, Hamoud. Unpopular opinion, but I quite enjoyed the Warcraft movie that came out a few years ago. There have been some reports surfacing that they are finally planning on doing a sequel. I wanted to check with you to see if these reports are BS or if it's okay to get excited. Thank you. All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, listen, you're not alone. Look, when Warcraft was coming out, I remember for a good couple of years, we were all really excited about Warcraft and Assassin's Creed. So for a number of years, Warcraft and Assassin's Creed were two video game adaptations that were in development and they were becoming movies. And all of us, myself included especially, really believed for a long time that this was going to be the breakthrough. These were the films that were going to break the curse. We are going to get a great video game adaptation movie that is going to throw open the floodgates, and it's just going to be that deal breaker that just brings everything into harmony, right? Assassin's Creed is one of the worst films I've seen in the last 10 plus years. And Warcraft, even though I gotta say, I appreciated Warcraft more than most people did, but Warcraft absolutely had its issues. It really did. It had its issues. And even though I kind of appreciated it because it played so well aesthetically to me, like I remember I had the same kind of feeling with Warcraft that I had with the first time I watched Lord of the Rings. John, are you saying Warcraft was as good as Lord of the Rings? Oh, hell no. That's not what I'm saying is I remember in the first few minutes of Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring, I just felt whimsical because I felt like they had magically transported me to the Shire, the way I had always imagined the Shire. And I really felt like they brought the Shire to life. And I remember watching Warcraft. I had a similar experience in the first few minutes of the film. Like I really felt like I feel like they have transported me to Azeroth. Now, I've spent an ungodly number of hours of my life playing World of Warcraft. And I'm probably not done. I'm probably going to load up the new expansion soon, but I've played an ungodly amount of World of Warcraft. But I really felt like they had transported me to Azeroth. The problem is, besides the fact that it was just critically destroyed, and even though I kind of appreciated it, I understand why a lot of people destroyed it. It also didn't do great. It did very badly at the box office in North America. Worldwide, it almost made 400 million, so it got real close to at least breaking even. But there's been no whisper, there's been no rumors like in the 1 or 2 years that followed it. But this is what comes to us right now from MovieWeb. They write this: a new movie based on the huge video game series World of Warcraft is reportedly in the works at Legendary Pictures. Legendary is the company, of course, that has the rights to it. According to relatively reliable scooper Daniel Richman, Warcraft 2 is now in development thanks largely to the game and first movie's popularity overseas. All right. Now, here's the first thing we've got to point out here to make this really clear. Because we do need to be really, really clear about this. Daniel Richman is not, he's not Deadline. He's not The Hollywood Reporter. He's not Variety. He's not Entertainment Weekly. But he is a guy who has a fairly reasonable record of stuff that comes out. So this is how I kind of look at stuff like this. When it's stuff that comes out in Variety, Deadline, those like top shelf stuff, that's stuff that you go, okay, then I just straight up believe it. But there is also kind of a level where if something comes out of certain people, I don't take it at face value, but it's like, but I'll file that one away and I'll keep that in mind. I'm not taking it at face value that just because this person said it, I believe it, but it's good enough that I would go, I'm going to file that away though and keep that in mind and keep my eyes open for other information that may corroborate that. You know what I mean? And I think this is one of those situations. Now, the reason I bring it up and talk about it is because those of you who've watched my show for at least a year, maybe a little bit over a year. You guys will remember that a little over a year ago, I mentioned on the show that I had heard some whispers. I wasn't convinced by any means. I wasn't calling it because I wasn't convinced, but I did tell you guys on the show about a year ago that I had personally heard some whispers that Legendary was in fact looking at doing a Warcraft 2. That there's still a lot of richness to this IP. There's still a lot of popularity and brand loyalty with this IP. And that they believe enough time maybe now has passed since the first film, which came out a number of years ago, that maybe, you know, they would be able to start off with a clean slate and move forward in a different way. And so there was some thought that maybe they'd be able to do it. Now, again, at the time, I said, I don't know that I buy this. You know, I certainly, it wasn't me calling saying, I'm calling right now. They're going to make, no, I didn't. I said, I don't know that I buy this. But I at least heard some whispers. So the fact that we're hearing this, it just it piques my ears a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? It just piques my ears a little bit more because it is something that kind of goes along with something that I heard before. Look, what do I think is going to happen here? I think eventually we are going to get another Warcraft movie. Now, whether Legendary is actually in development right now, I wasn't sold on that a year ago. I'm still not sold on it now. But I wouldn't be shocked. Like if Deadline dropped a story tomorrow, completely confirming that, yep, they're going to do another Warcraft movie. They're going to reboot it. Because I don't think you can do Warcraft 2. I think you reboot Warcraft because the last one has too much of a stench of failure on it, unfortunately. Even though I appreciated what Duncan Jones was doing. I did. I appreciated the movie Duncan Jones made us. But the reality is, it didn't work for the vast majority of people, unfortunately. So I think you got to reboot it. I do think they're eventually going to do that. Now, whether that's happening in the next 2 years or whether it's going to happen 5 or 10 years down the line, I don't know. As for this specific story about is this in development right now, I still take it with a giant grain of salt. But I think there's enough there that you and I as fans should at least keep an eye on it and at least file it away into our memory banks. And so if something else pops up, we can sort of cross-reference with it. So let's keep our eyes on it. Question is for you guys. What do you think about that? Do you actually think they are moving forward right now with another Warcraft movie? Would you even be interested in another Warcraft movie at this point? And ultimately, if they did do another Warcraft, can you do a sequel to that first one? Or you just scrap that and just start fresh? Enough years have passed, so let's just start fresh and do a full reboot and do a different approach to World of Warcraft. What do you guys think? Jump down into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys.